Hello, all. Today I want to talk to you about symbol usage and the powerful meaning behind it, as well as the influence of intention with regard to its use. So, in Reiki traditions, we use a lot of symbols, and many symbols are taken from many different cultural influences, many of which are very ancient, and they're utilized to channel a specific frequency of energy to best support the healing and well being of the individuals being served. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about the power of intention when utilizing symbols of any variety and just how important it is to utilize these symbols properly, because the best way to channel the frequency of the energy that you desire to bring into being or bring into your experience is going to be very, very receptive to the intention that you set out there. And possibly one of the most classic examples of this going completely sideways is the Germans' use of the swastika in the 1930s and throughout World War II. So the swastika is an ancient Sanskrit symbol. So it has existed since long before Germany was even colonized. So it's very, very, very ancient, back in the very, very beginning of time when people started using written language. And the actual meaning, the translation of this particular symbol, it basically means conducive to well-being. Now, the Germans in their research adopted this information or adopted this symbology from their study of Vedic or Indian texts, the ancient texts that talked a lot about, their interpretation, we'll say the Nazis' interpretation of a superior race or superior beings. So in their minds, this use of the swastika, which is conducive to well-being, they thought that people who were of this particular race were going to be, superior or the best quality or whatever. So they perverted the original intention of this energy, which fundamentally, I think, caused the failure of that entire regime. Now, obviously, there were many other contributing factors, but I really, really honestly believe that when you utilize a symbol that is specifically conducive to well-being, it is not discriminating against people based on the color of their skin or the religions or spiritual beliefs that they may have. It doesn't discriminate based on anything. It just states conducive to the well-being of all. Right? So I really feel that because that symbol was utilized in an inappropriate way, basically to try to empower a movement that was exclusionary and caused significant harm and trauma with obviously malintent. There was a strong desire to commit genocide, particularly of people who were of Jewish descent. And there was no reason for that. And so really, honestly, when you utilize a symbol that is designed for healing and well-being and pervert it to your own ends, fundamentally, those vibrational energies do not match up. So the vibrational frequency of the swastika, which the original meaning is conducive to well-being, that vibration is significantly higher than the drive to commit genocide. And so obviously, if we have vibrational frequencies that are on two separate levels, there's no cohesion. That creates dissonance, which ultimately creates failure of that entire thing. That whole structure, that whole system epically failed. And so my message behind telling you all of this is that your intention matters. When we invest ourselves with malicious intent against one another, for whatever reason, no matter how justified you feel it is, it's not going to work out. Love always wins. And yes, there may be darkness and there may be things that we don't like that are happening, and they may go on for years. I mean, obviously, World War II was a long time coming, and it took a lot out of people, and it lasted for a heck of a long time. And a lot of people suffered. But fundamentally, that movement failed because it was in dissonance, not resonance, right? So we have the vibration of well-being up here, and we have this desire to kill an entire generation of people, an entire group of individuals, and they just don't match up. We have to create resonance. We have to find success by creating resonance, and the best way to do that is with love. The vibrational frequency of raising all things, all beings, creating wellness for everyone, because that's what that symbol was intended to do. Not to cause harm and not to become the visual representation of individuals who fundamentally just didn't understand the true meaning of that symbol and the energy behind it. And fundamentally, everything that they did failed. And so I just like to remind you that sometimes we need to dig a little bit deeper to find the true message behind whatever it is that we're seeing. And if something is not resonant with you, that's okay. That's okay. This doesn't mean that we are ignoring that bad things happen or creating space for bad things to happen. We're just choosing not to focus on the bad things. Like, okay, we have this dissonant energy, right? We have this stuff that doesn't feel good. What would we prefer to see instead, and focus on that? And when we utilize our attention to focus on the intention, the goal that we want to achieve, then we can vibrate in a space in that frequency of well-being, conducive to well-being for all. So I just want to provide you a little bit of encouragement if you happen to be going through some stuff right now. I'm not going to preach patience to people who are suffering, because that is insensitive, frankly. And, I'm not sure why certain things happen to certain people. I think really honestly, we've been programmed to believe that we either deserve to suffer, or that suffering is necessary or a desirable consequence so that we can experience growth and change. And really, truly, we can experience growth and change regardless of suffering. We can actually opt out of it and still experience growth and change. So I'd like to encourage you to acknowledge what is, accept that things are what they are, and then focus on what you want to see. Focus on that well-being, the true meaning of that swastika symbol. How can we be, how can we act, how can we show up in a way that is conducive to well-being across all the spectrum, every single domain of well-being that there is? How can we move towards that? And I can tell you right now, it's not by focusing on all the ick. It's by focusing on that which we wish to create. And when you give your energy and attention to that, it's incredible the shift that you can see in your own life and the lives of others. So thank you for indulging this little history lesson with me. And if you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to hit me up, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Have a great day.